Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to Thursday. It's Bite-Sized Day, a subsidiary of...
Off Slate Media.
Off Slate Media.
That's us.
What?
That's us. We're Off Slate Media.
Yeah, that's us. That's currently us, yes. We're continuing through the contemporary show of Sherlock by the BBC. This is Series 4, Episode 1. It is called...
Do you remember?
Not at all.
The Six Thatchers. Remember I said last week, Thatcher is a roof fixer, a roof thatcher, just like A Knight's Tale. Sir William Thatcher.
Is A Knight's Tale the one that Daniel Craig's in? No, that's a kid in King Arthur's Court. What a movie. Anyway, I've never seen any of this. I've heard a lot of people kind of hate this series, but, you know.
Reminded that in Britain, a season is a series. We're not talking about the whole show. We're just talking about this fourth in America season, but series, according to those Brits.
But I've heard a lot of people hate just like the second half of this in general, so I haven't hated it. I've actually kind of liked it better than the first two. Jared, you've expressed the same. Are you excited for what's to come?
I am. No, I read the synopsis real quick of the Six Thatchers. It's literally just Margaret Thatcher.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. But I thought it was a roof thing. It should have been the roof thing. Margaret Thatcher's roof.
Who is Margaret Thatcher in the context of...
You don't know who Margaret Thatcher is?
I don't think so.
She was the Prime Minister of Britain.
That's what it was. Yep.
Incredibly popular / controversial.
Do I look British to you?
I was going to say,
I knew
Margaret Thatcher.
I knew the name, but...
We're dumb Americans, so there's a whole bunch of British context to this that we don't know. All I know is, despite being perceivingly tough and incredibly popular for many during her time as Prime Minister, also very divisive and controversial, as I just said. A lot of things are the fallout that are still being dealt with from what I've heard. Very comparable to Reagan's tenure in the White House.
Yeah, I think the only reason I even knew the name was because of Doctor Who.
Gotcha. Well, there's a movie about her.
What?
There's a movie about her. Well, there's many movies about her probably, but the big one, the biopic from 2011 that Meryl Streep won Best Actress for, The Iron Lady.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
It sucks.
Does it?
It's a bad movie.
Okay, that's not something
It doesn't do anything. Not to talk about that, but it doesn't do anything. Anything. It's just, here's Margaret Thatcher. It's like, well, what about her? Oh, here's Margaret Thatcher.
That's not something you can generally say about a Meryl Streep performance, unless it's
The performance is fine. It's just Meryl Streep doing an accent. That's every performance.
Didn't she win for that?
Yep.
Does that kind of burn you a little bit?
It's more of a... Makes sense why she won it. It's Oscar bait to the T. It's just a bad movie. It's an okay performance in a bad movie.
Was Meryl Streep... Was she the lady in The Post?
She's in The Post, yeah. She's the female lead, yep.
I still say I saw too much of her in Don't Look Up.
I forget. She's in that because I try to forget about that.
Exists.
Yeah. But we're talking about Sherlock.
Yes. Yeah,
that's
There's
all
a
we know.
dog on the screen.
Yeah, it looks like a bloodhound.
We're going to do Hounds of Baskerville again?
Maybe.
The reboot.
Yeah, but looking at the audience score on IMDb, or not the score, but like it's just people a lot lower. I think it's the lowest one, or one of the lowest ones of the whole show. So it looks like people do not like this first episode. But we'll have to see.
Well, you ready?
Yeah.
You're the one that says it the first time.
You have to lead me in.
To what?
You have to say one word.
Let's.
Take a bite.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a whirlwind of an episode, if I do say so myself. I don't want to say that it jumped shark, but it definitely had a different tone. It was kind of it was something.
You mentioned it a couple times, like, this feels different. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, yeah, like, it's not feeling like Sherlock. It's like all the pieces are there and it looks like it, but something's different. And I think it just struck me, it feels, and I don't mean this in a mean way, it feels like a streaming show almost now.
Maybe.
I don't know why.
Again, it is like 3 or 4 years later from the previous season.
Yeah, but we just watched something that's only a year older than it last week. And that, besides everything's in the past for most of it, or in his head in the past, it felt like Sherlock. This felt American TV, but like...
Maybe at this point it was very popular. Maybe it was more popular in America than it was in Britain. Who knows? I mean, They still had a lot of the cool effects and a lot of the dumb editing that they are known...
Like, the smashing thing next to him, I like, where it's smashing and they're, like, masking the footage.
Like, the smashing of Minecraft's face, I didn't like.
Nope, and then the... where they, like, a transition to them standing outside with the bloodhound, it was like, it, like, zoomed in and back out with a little, like a drill or a car brake.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like, oh, they're going to go real fast, and then they ground to a halt.
And I was like,
would have been more effective
that?
just to cut to it.
Yep. It's called, well, we got to think of a cool transition. Got to always have one.
We're a hip show. We say we're probably going to dog on this a little bit, but... To be honest, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was a little bit it was a little chaotic. I'll admit that, and I think that him thinking it was all based in Moriarty is well put to set up for whatever.
Yeah, a paranoia thing. A paranoia thing with the actual, like, what is this thing that happened at the end of last series?
And I appreciate that they didn't just
jump into it.
No, just forget that Mary is a spy or whatever it was.
Was a spy, yeah.
I appreciate that they didn't just let that. The problem is that there's so much ground to cover, and even an hour and a half or whatever it is.
It felt fast.
Yeah,
it felt a little disjointed.
It felt like a mess.
What I have noticed about other Sherlock episodes, it does a similar, I forget what the name of the trope is, The Simpsons does it, or at least, like, Golden Era Simpsons episode of, like, the first 5-6 minutes of the episode is something funny and set up, and it just leads to the main story. It's not the main story, whereas most episodes, the main story starts right away, outside of, like, a cold open, but it's not a cold open. It's like, this thing sets up, this, like, story beat is meaningless outside of setting up the next, like, the main story. And what the Sherlock structure has done in previous episodes is this little thing, the start of the case, leads to this part of the case, which leads to the main case. And then a lot of times all of it comes together at the end. And this one felt like it was just like stacking them without connecting them. I don't know why. They do connect, but it didn't feel like it came together.
Because it was so fast. There's no time to sit in anything.
Because
maybe if they would have gotten rid of AJ, like just not had his character in there,
or don't kill him off like halfway through, that. Like it's one of those, he's barely in it because it's one of those, it's set up as, oh, this guy, there's this weird thing about this guy died and the son of the guy died, and that's not as important. It leads to the smashing of the Thatcher bus, and then
which is really interesting.
Yes, and then that leads to
them finding the jump drive in there.
And you're what?
But if AJ's not actively in there, or if he just remains an anonymous person until the end, or if it's Vivian going around smashing the bus,
it was
that frees up more space for things to just sit. Or the thing with the dog could have probably been axed.
Yeah, like that was kind of a pointless sequence.
Yeah.
It was just like here's the dog. We're going to this hacker dude who has a dog named Toby, who then can smell, like a bloodhound will smell the blood and track it. It's just to a butcher shop, and I go, oh, are we going to go into the butcher shop? Nope. It just leads to nothing.
They're like
seemingly
showing
nothing.
us the dead end, and I don't know that showing us the dead end is the most effective use of time.
Yeah. It's almost like, for how Americanized it's starting to feel, just start the episode with something having to do with Mary, like something threatening Mary's new life connected to AJ. I feel like if you set that up right away like an American show would, that works better, because that's kind of how they're operating. But instead, because it's Sherlock, it has to go through twists and turns, but it's not really twists and turns. It's just kind of some wasted time.
That said, I still don't know that I think it's as bad as everyone says
not.
it is.
It's still
It just
fun in
feels
places.
different.
It's just feeling way too typical, whereas Sherlock has been pretty subversive for most of these episodes.
Yeah.
It stays one step ahead of the audience. While it might not be the smartest show, it at least tries and has fun little twists. This feels like they think they're smart and they're not. It's just kind of pedestrian. It felt like an episode of like a procedural show. A good one, but also like it just didn't feel special. It's like, as I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, this was kind of like what The Blind Banker felt like in season 1, where it was kind of an episodic thing, even though it's not. This has more connecting things, but The Blind Banker at least had that Sherlock feel to it.
I was less bored during this than The Blind Banker.
Because it is more. We've got more characters. We've spent more time with people, and then of course the last 10 minutes are good. Mm-hmm. The way, again, spoilers, of course. Mary's death.
The problem is the person doesn't end up being anyone we've ever even run into before. Like,
or you said we did earlier in the episode.
I thought that she was like the note taker when Minecraft says, "Don't take notes on this." I thought that that's who that was, but I don't know.
I think it is. Yeah. That's right. He asks her. Sherlock at the very first scene is asking her.
But at that point, there's so many new characters introduced, and we've been going so hard for so long. It's like, who is it? Like, Jared and I were looking, is that supposed to be Margaret Thatcher?
Because now that I'm thinking about it, I was like, oh, that's who that is. I wasn't thinking about her at all, but it's not like a cool, like, she was there all along, or like, it was just like I've forgotten about her completely and in a bad way. She was nothing to us before.
Yep. And
I'm not feeling it. And it's like, I'm thinking about this. It's like, it's not very well structured. We are not professional writers. We don't write for TV shows and movies and such.
I appreciate.
But it feels like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Like I said, I appreciate that they didn't let the Mary thing just kind of be resolved.
Yeah.
And not address it. I appreciate that they're maybe trying a different thing. But, like, it's not that I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's just that, well, there is one thing I really genuinely don't like about it. And I understand that this might play into future episodes. But the implication that John is cheating on Mary, even if it's just through text, we are of the... Can I say we? Can I include you? We are of the opinion that cheating is not just a physical thing. It is also an emotional thing. And that it heavily implicates that. So...
Especially since Mary was gone for X amount of time earlier in the week when she goes on the run.
Yeah, but it wasn't even when she was on the run.
I know. That's another thing. She goes on the run, and that's kind of a whole wasted thing. It ends up being a joke, and it is funny.
If it was less time, it's a little bit like the dirt clod in The Lion King or whatever it is.
That wasn't a dirt clod.
The dung beetle poop.
That was like a piece of Simba's fur in a ball of poop, and we watched that ball of poop go across screen for way too long. It's like, well, we got to make this movie about 2 hours.
I will say...
Let's watch a piece of crap roll by. Wait, that's the whole movie.
I will say that her American accent was kind of funny.
Oh, it was. You made a comment like, you can tell that's a British... I'm like, I think that's supposed to be Mary putting on an accent.
Yeah.
Which I hope you got.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said, is this how they see us? I go, yeah, it's pretty accurate. Like, yeah, in the 50s. And I go... No, I think there's still people who act like that.
That saddens me.
I've run into people who talk like this, man. And they weren't high, they weren't being goofy, they're just like straight face. I have to make the face while I talk like that, but it's like, hey, thanks. And it's like, oh, you just, you're a cartoon character.
But anyway, back to what I was saying about John. Like, the implication is there. And if it plays into if this girl ends up being someone important to the story later on, so be it. But at the same time, just the implication entirely undercuts the ability to connect emotionally with her death, because he gets all mad and it's like,
oh, what were you doing? That's the thing.
That's what it was. It was like 5 minutes ago you were texting this other woman. You want me to like, I know she's dying, but you want me to let you be mad at Sherlock? I think that's, even if it's intentional for a further point in the plot, I think it's sloppy writing. Or sloppy timing. Maybe sloppy editing. I'm not really sure.
Or even structure. I feel like if it's, and this could be more cliche, while Mary's gone, this thing that for some reason he didn't shut down right away continued, because absence makes sense. Doesn't excuse it, but it makes sense why the story would do that. And then he tries to end it. Or let's say like there's some kind of rift between him and Mary, and at the moment she's dying, he has already ended it, or like that's in his mind, and there's more development to that. So in that moment, he is realizing the thing he is losing right in front of him, like re-realizing, like that can be well written, that can be powerful, but it's not. We see like 2 or 3 scenes, and it's not really clear on if he's actually cheating for sure, because again, it feels like something for a future episode, but as of right now, it's a little frustrating.
Like, it has to be short. Like, that particular, for something as emotional as a main character dying, I feel like you have to write that so intentionally, and I don't feel like it was done here.
Yeah, and I feel the weight, because it's a character I like, and her saving him is good, and like you actually can hear the emotion in Sherlock when she's dying, because he's so disjointed from everything.
Sherlock or John?
Sherlock.
Okay.
Because he's so disjointed from everything all the time. And remember we said like earlier in the show, those little glimpses of humanity are there. This is one of them where it brings it out of him, where because he does care about her, you can hear it. And I was like, it's really good. Maybe this, because I always have this thought about how emotional manipulation is used in media, because it's not inherently a bad thing. That's what the point of media is. It is kind of manipulation for every feeling that it has. There are times it's there to solely make you just feel sad, but this one, I was like, I'm feeling it. It's not feeling as genuine because it's not built up to that way.
They needed to take some sequences out of there to give us just more time to sit with the characters and where they were at.
I think that's it. I think we have longer scenes in previous episodes that have the pacing work better. In here, it's just so fast. Mm-hmm. Which is a shame, because I think the best parts of the show are just characters reacting to each other and having conversations, which it's so quick.
Mm-hmm. It just shows you how much a baby changes the show.
Yeah.
Because John can't be as present with Sherlock anymore.
Well,
he
doesn't want anything to do with him right now.
Well, I mean right now. I mean like during the episode before that happens.
Why is he mad at him?
My guess is he blames him for Mary's death. Because, remember, John said, "You made a vow." But then you're like, you did too, and you
kind of broke that.
Like
we're assuming. We don't know yet.
I know, but like just the idea, like that undercuts what you're trying to accomplish. Just the idea of it.
And they kind of set up like a Sherlock pushed Vivian to shoot. But true. I don't think John was there when he did that. Didn't John come after the shot happened?
No, I don't think so.
I can't remember if he showed up.
I don't think. Yes.
She got shot and then he comes in, right?
Yeah, because Sherlock had time to say, "Call an ambulance."
So if he's there, and that's another thing. If Sherlock is pushing Vivian, calling out on her lonely, meaningless existence, and John is there trying to say stop instead of it being Mary, or if they're both saying it, then you build that suspense, and so when she shoots, it makes sense why she shoots still, and John is mad at him because then you can have him say, why do you always push people like that? And now someone's dead. That makes more sense. But instead, it happens without John there.
I'm sorry, I just can't get over the whole cheating thing. Like, I know
but we don't know for sure.
It plays into a thing down the road. I get that. I know how Moffat writes. I know how Gaddis writes. But, like, just that, if you are going to do that, I can't be in that state of mind, have that happen, and think that it's at all warranted.
It is one of those, like, because of what you've presented to us, this is in our mind.
If it happens after that, that's different. Like, so the cheats, we figure out what the payoff is. So say it's the redhead that's involved, that is the one that is ammo. And then she shoots him. It's still a little bit there, but at least there's some resolution to it.
Which, again, we don't know. That's why I'm holding off getting angrier, because I know there's more to this, because they didn't show us everything. And if they don't show us anything again with this, then that's just wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
So as of right now, it's like I can't get too upset because we don't know everything. We have 2 more episodes of all the show, technically, and it's like there's more to come. And people...
Not much more, though.
Yeah. People like the next episode.
I don't
we'll
think
see.
that this is as bad as everyone says it
No.
is, but it does it's just that couple of sticking points.
It's a Godfather 3.
Yeah.
When you compare it to what came before, yeah, it's kind of dwarfed by that. On its own, it's fine.
It's like we got the middle episode as the premiere.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all we got to say, because we don't... I would guess because we just don't have... We don't have all the answers.
You say that's all we got to say, but like I think we've said more about this than we have. It's easier to say something about it when you don't agree with the direction.
It's easier to complain than praise. And also, I just had it. I lost it. I was gonna say something about Mary's death. Also, is kind of a plot device to cause a rift between Watson and Sherlock. Yeah. Like that's why it's like I hope there's more development to this other thing, because right now it is feeling like they kind of fridged her.
I am happy Molly is still there. Sorry, Molly.
Yeah. Still a good group of characters. Sad to see Mary dead. Was scared that the end message meant she was still alive somehow. I was like, okay, that's it.
But I would have been so happy with just the trio of them solving mysteries, murders, and stuff.
Yeah.
If someone had to die at the end of it, then someone had to die, but...
Yeah.
Got anything else?
No.
All right. Well, we're going to keep heading off on this. Hopefully it doesn't become more frustrating for us. I hope that this is the pinnacle of our frustration with this show. And again, it's just because I have genuinely liked this.
Me too.
And I know you have too. Until next we meet, where can they find us, Jared?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X,
formerly known as Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell. Make sure you like us, rate us in all those apps, and check out our groovy website.
All right. And so beyond that, if you want to solve more mysteries with us, come on back next Thursday. We'll be taking a look at The Lying Detective, which, if this DVD menu serves any purpose, it's the computer guy from the Marvel movies.
Toby Jones?
Yeah.
Armin Zola?
Yeah.
I like Toby Jones. I think it's Toby Jones is his name. Anyway, that's next week, though.
Yeah. So other than that, come on back. We'll solve more mysteries. And then until then, let's...
take a bite.